Welcome to The Money Hour with host Tina Mitchell and co-host Keelan Harvey. Tina Mitchell, MLO 145420, and Keelan Harvey, MLO 1330075, are licensed loan originators with Gateway Mortgage Group, LLC, and MLS 7233. The views expressed by the speakers on the following program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views of Gateway Mortgage Group, LLC, nor are they necessarily endorsed by Gateway Mortgage Group, LLC. Now, in the studio, local mortgage experts Tina Mitchell and Keelan Harvey.
Welcome to the Money Hour at 11:50 a.m. KKNW, the Saturday, March 16th show. I am your host, Tina Mitchell.
And your co-host, Keelan Harvey.
Bringing in expert advice and inside knowledge on today's events and how it affects our economy. If you're listening to our show at a different time of day, you are listening to a rebroadcast, but we're here to connect you with the guests that we have on the show today. Please call the show at 1-855-400-1150. Again, that's 1-855-400-1150 or online at themoneyhour.com. And our lineup for studio today, we have D. Gupta of D Coaching, Making Change Easy. Excited to have her back in studio. Also in studio, we have Susan Palmer Wood, The Mindset Effect with Susan Palmer Wood. Last guest in studio, we have Carrie Ray Davis with Mitsui Real Estate Group at Keller Williams, breaking out of the winter freeze spring real estate update. That sounds like so much fun. Great information and great guests. As always, if you want to talk with our guests, you can call the show at 1-855-400-1150. Again, that's 1-855-400-1150 or online at themoneyhour.com. And let's start out today, Keelan. What do you think with a little
Money chat? Sounds good to me.
Money.
So, Keelan, another week has gone by since we've been in studio last time. And I just have to say, I want to give a shout out to Victoria, which she's going to be here the entire show moving forward and kind of our behind the scenes of everything. And I just think we're really taking our mortgage business, this radio show, and our entire platform to a whole new level when it comes to video. And so Victoria, who's here right now doing video, want to give a shout out for the one of millions of things that she does. And, we were actually sitting here with our guest before we came into studio. I like to do a little bit of, fun chatting first. And of course, she gets some live video before we come into studio and some still pictures. And there's this random person that's sitting up there at the lobby. And I don't know how the conversation started because I stepped in a little bit past it. But she just fell in love with Victoria and the videos and things that she's doing. I think she's going to hire her on the side to do some video for her.
Is that what happened there? I thought she was a guest on the show. I'm not going to lie at first.
That's too funny. Well, I thought, oh my gosh, we got an extra guest where we're going to fit them. We're supposed to have 3 guests.
That's
Why is there 4 out there?
I was like, how did this happen? What the heck? Yeah.
Well, Victoria managed it, so there's no way that happened.
Yeah, she was a sweetheart and just kind of jumped in. So, I mean, she's an awesome lady.
So it's just shout out for Victoria. Our agents are always asking and she just, she's pretty amazing. So that's really, I wanted to bring it in just kind of random here today for Money Chat. Wasn't what I was planning on talking about, but I just really appreciate our team. Keelan, I appreciate you.
Aww.
I'm actually going to start crying now because I'm just in this appreciation space that we just really have such an amazing team. I'm so fortunate to be here each week with amazing business owners that are passionate about what they're doing, just as we are passionate about our business. And life is good.
Life is good.
Yeah.
And I love you girls. Without you girls, I wouldn't be here. And I just feel honored and privileged to be
love you too, Keelan.
A part of it in general.
So what do you got going on?
I almost got sucked in like a tractor beam to buy a car. I went in to get a service at Infinity, and next thing you know, I'm going to drive out with like a $70,000 car. All of a sudden, it almost really happened. They're pretty good at sucking you in.
Yes, they are.
But we were on a test drive randomly. We drive by this new auto row in Bellevue by our office, actually.
Yeah.
I'm terrible with streets. I couldn't tell you. It's basically between
116th, right?
I think you're right. The Audi dealership and all that.
I think so.
Huge construction over there. And he was explaining that that's the new Facebook building. And it's like 14 stories. And it got me thinking, we always talk about employment drives, the real estate market and, the local economy. And kind of putting two and two together, Amazon just leased a whole nother, they're like 1 million square feet over here or something.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Google, REI is opening a huge building, 400 square feet over here.
Yep.
So this could be like the new Silicon Valley. Like everybody's freaking out, like it's just going to continue to go, and all the evidence is kind of pointing like it's just going to continue to go.
It's going to continue to go, and it's real. I'm glad that you brought that in because the show is about making money, and real estate is making money, and we've got such an amazing market. If you ask people where the real estate market is going to go, they have a hard time predicting in what that might do. But if you ask people what the employment is going to do, people really have a great opinion on what they think employment's going to do, and real estate always follows employment. So we're killing it out here, and those are just a few examples of what we have for employment. There are so many more. So
I'm excited about it. This is just going to boom. So I'm always the call to action to buy. Like I'm actually in the market myself at this point. Mm-hmm. Like it's time. Pull the trigger, go out. I mean, we're only going to appreciate, especially on the north. I was a south guy. Yeah. I've now northeast guy, I'm thinking, because I mean, the potential, the light rail and all that. I mean, hop on the train, catch the wave, and get yourself change your life with the purchase of a home. I mean, that's the first step to wealth. So
totally agree.
Go get it.
There's no other investment like real estate. Real estate's the only investment that if you don't buy a house, you're going to have to pay for rent. It's the only investment that you can actually enjoy and live in. And really, it's the only investment. If you look over the history of the real estate market, you're not going to go lose money unless you're forced to sell in a bad market. The market is going to drop. We're going to have that when the market tanks. There's all this stuff that's going to happen, not in a positive way, but the market's going to always recover. And so as long as you're not forced to sell in a bad market, you can't make a bad investment in real estate. Disclosure, unless you're a flipper, that's a whole different conversation. We're not talking about that today. Another day. Alrighty, so on that's our money chat. And coming up next on the Money Hour, we have Making Change Easy. Dee Gupta with Dee Coaching right here on 1150 AM KKNW after this short break.
Are you a tech professional who wants to get your voice heard in meetings and events? Are you tired of being invisible or of people talking over you? Do you believe you have the talent to make more impact at work but don't know how or where to begin? Are you living on autopilot not knowing where your time has gone? Or do you want to make the best use of your time on this planet? To have a powerful voice in this world, you need to build up your communication skills and courage step by step. To live your life in a powerful way, you need to have crystal clear goals and work through problems along the way until you achieve those goals. Dee Gupta of Dee Coaching is an expert at unleashing your personal power and will coach you through a simple and easy-to-follow process that will build up your skills and courage. Dee is passionate about firing people up to follow their dreams by walking them through her effective proprietary process of goal setting and follow-through.
This is Dee from Dee Coaching. To learn more about me, visit my website at speakpowerfullycoaching.com and follow the links to connect with me on social media.
You're listening to The Money Hour with your host, Tina Mitchell, and co-host Keelan Harvey on Alternative Talk AM 1150. Now, back to the show with local mortgage experts Tina Mitchell and Keelan Harvey.
Welcome back to the Money Hour on 1150 AM KKNW, the Saturday, March 16th show. I am your host, Tina Mitchell.
And co-host Keelan Harvey.
We are here to talk about money, and that's what the show is about, how to make money, how to save money, why, so you can have a better quality of life for you and your family. If you're listening at our show at a different time or day, you are listening to a rebroadcast. If you'd like to connect with the guests that we have on the show, you can call in at 1-855-400-1150. Again, it's 1-855-400-1150 or online at themoneyhour.com. In studio, again, we love having our first guest in studio. She's Dee Gupta of Dee Coaching, and we're going to be talking about making change easy. Last time we talked about a little bit of fear. Now we're going to roll into change. Dee, thank you so much for joining us back in studio again.
Thank you for having me.
And a little bit about Dee. Dee is... most life coaches help you with performance, all of the metrics of what's successful on a day-to-day basis. What this approach leads to is stress and burnout. There is more to life than constantly meeting key performance indicators. Dee developed a very unique coaching methodology called the Zero Productivity Method, which has a fundamentally opposite aim of the conventional life coach method. If you are the type of person someone who would love to live a zero productivity lifestyle and at the same time understands that there is no practical get-rich-quick scheme and that you are prepared to define and go after the zero productivity lifestyle of your dreams and realize ruthless coaching, which will help you through the journey to get there, then you're going to want to stay tuned and listen to our guest, Dee.
Yes, Dee, we're excited to have you back. And this subject of making change, that's really exciting. And your headline here, making change easy, which, it's not easy for anybody to make some changes usually because we're programmed into this thing, and anything outside your comfort zone, sometimes you got to push yourself. So what would you define as a change?
Change is unlearning all the habits that we have that we do subconsciously without even realizing, doing something new. Well, the first step is unlearning. The second step is deciding to do something new and creating a new habit around it. So it goes to the core of doing things that we're very unaware we're doing and making something else and becoming unconsciously or subconsciously competent at doing that.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
All life happens at the end of your comfort zone. Anything, if you think about anything that happened in your life that was big, like something that changed your life, it's always somewhere where you're, I don't want to say uncomfortable, but it kind of gives you that little tingle.
Absolutely.
Where you're something's flicking off in your brain like, oh gosh, this isn't normal. But then the rewards are amazing, right?
Yeah. Well, that's why so many people, they know what they need to do. They know the core practices to be successful in life and business, but they don't do it because they've created a habit doing it a different way. So it's retraining. And I always like to say, just brush your teeth with your opposite hand and get that down. Electric toothpaste is going to be a little bit messy, but it's okay. Get used to doing things differently than you normally do so that you can get used to creating different habits for you all the time, because that's what change is and it's important. So why is change important, Dee?
So I'll explain this with an example.
Okay.
Let's say we are healthy, we eat healthy, we're exercising, and our fitness level is at a 3.
Okay.
We don't do anything for the next 6 months. We eat healthy, we continue to eat healthy, we're doing everything right, but we're not exercising for the next 6 months. Where will we be? Will our fitness level remain at 3 or will we go down?
I think you'd go down.
Yeah.
Will go down.
Yes, of
right?
course.
So that is the reason that change is important, because if we're not growing continuously, we are dying.
Yes.
We are atrophying. So the only way for us to grow, the only way for us to make any kind of progress in our lives is to continuously change.
Yes.
And the moment we stop changing, we go into this phase where, okay, we're dying. So if you want to continue to live and if you don't want to die, then you've got to change.
You've got to embrace change. Love that.
That's crazy. I was listening to Tony Robbins today on the way in, and he was talking about success is progress, and which is change.
It is, yeah,
so
of course.
It's ironic that I was listening to that this morning, and here we have Dee just reiterating it on her show. That's awesome.
She's a smart girl.
She is. She is.
That's why she's here on the show.
Touche.
Yeah.
Touche. So, Dee, tell us why people struggle with change so much. Why is it so hard for people to change?
Change is means going against something that we're very comfortable doing, that we don't even have to think about, that we're doing as a habit. So when we are forced to face the fact that we've been doing something wrong, maybe our entire lives, or at least most of our lives, or a lot of our lives, then we're forced to accept that we didn't know the right way to do it. So it hits our ego. That's one aspect of it. It affects our... if we're not careful, it can affect our self-confidence that, I thought I was doing this okay. And I've caught myself doing that many times as well. I'm saying a word in a certain way and somebody corrects me and I'm like, oh, really?
Yes.
And that's a very tiny example. But with the bigger change, it's even more difficult. Plus, the amount of effort that we have to put in to do something that we've already been doing so easily is quite often a lot.
Yes.
So we have to take something that we've been doing very, very easily, and we find a way to make a new habit out of it, and it takes effort, and effort is like hard.
Yes. Yeah.
Can be hard.
Well, and that's what I always call change. It is the hard road, but it's the hard road that will lead you to easy street. So once you create that new habit of always changing so that you can test things out to see if it's the right way or not, change to continue to get better. And I always like to say too that you're always stretching yourself to a different level. And it's kind of like learning. When you learn and you get to a certain level, you're not going to go backwards in your learning. And It's the same thing with change and habits. If you continue to change, you're never going to go backwards. It's just stretching yourself as much as you can. So Dee, let's talk about the first step to be accepting change.
The first step to accept change, and the most important, the most crucial step to accept any kind of change, is to make a decision to change.
Yeah.
And this might feel like of course, okay, I make a decision 10,000 times a day and I don't do it.
Yeah.
It is about getting into the right mindset where you say, okay, no matter what, I am going to do this, and that's it. And once that decision has been made, everything else flows through much, much more smoothly. I used to be very overweight. I was 35 pounds overweight
And that's so crazy to think because you're so petite and tiny.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was gaining a pound every month for 2 or 3 years. Every day I used to tell myself, I don't want this. There was one moment of decision when I stood in front of the mirror and I was like, that's it, no more. That was the decision of change. So the most important piece in any kind of change is that decision.
So what was the why behind that decision that actually made that decision connect with your brain to push yourself to go through the difficult thing and actually make a decision to change for real this time? Was there something that was like building up in there? Maybe that was in the subconscious level that hadn't really come forward, right? Maybe?
Right. So it had been building up every month. And I was like, I cannot keep doing this. I cannot keep gaining a pound a month for the rest of my life. How much am I going to end up being? So it was... I think we cannot really we cannot necessarily pinpoint. It is something that comes from within. It's like that's it. When the pain gets harder than what your comfort level, then sometimes pain is a good motivator, and pleasure is a good motivator, but pain is a really strong motivator.
Even stronger, yeah. So if you're listening, a shout out is to really think, how can you put pain in front of you?
Right.
Because that's going to be the pushing point to get you to make that change.
So, Dee, what is what's the next step when you make up your mind? This is kind of what it is, and I always like to say you get what you put up with in life. Like you're rock bottom. Like what are the things that you literally your bottom line in life, and you got to lift that bottom line and make that choice in your life. Like I'm not going to live like this anymore, and it's connected to that why that Tina just said. So when the times are tough, you can go back and say, "This is why I'm going to live this way, and I'm going to change my life." So what's the next step in this progress of change?
The next step to building any new habit or creating any kind of change is to do something very, very tiny every day.
Yeah.
So after you've made a decision and you've gone through a little bit of the process of what are the situations I'm going to make this change in, you spend, and I would suggest no more than 5 minutes. You make a commitment to yourself that you're only going to spend 5 minutes every day on that change. Whether it's exercising or eating healthy or whatever, 5 minutes.
Yeah.
You'd make a tiny, tiny change. And that is the best way to bring about huge, massive changes because you'd make a habit of those tiny changes and you build up on it.
Yeah, love it. I would say if you want to make a healthier choice, put your tennis shoes by the front door for a week, walk past them, don't do anything, but walk past them the next week, put your shoes on and take a small walk. The week after that, after your walk, take a drive by the gym. Don't go in it, just drive by it. And then the final week, get into the gym and start working out. So just what you're saying is those small, manageable steps. So the last step, the final step to really bring this to a conclusion and to success when it comes to making change, Dee?
To create any new habit, you've got to do it consistently every day for a certain number of days. Now, the number of days may vary. Some people say 21 days. I wanted to start showering every night, and it took me less than 21 days. I wanted to run, and I ran for 66 days for 30 minutes every day, and I still didn't build a habit. So it depends on how important it is to you, and do it consistently every day until it becomes a habit.
Yes.
That's interesting. So you talk about the fallout of change. How do we deal with the fallout of your changes?
So when you change, you allow yourself the opportunity to have much deeper relationships than you're used to. You have a much higher chance of living a more fulfilled life. You have much higher possibility of living a life that you are happy with. On the flip side, if you grow and change very fast, there is a possibility of losing everything that you know. You may lose your friends, you may decide to quit your job, and it may be very, very scary. I have been off sugar since last year, January, and most friends have been very supportive. I've had one friend who just could not understand that I would not have dessert with them. They spent 1 hour trying to convince me to have dessert, and I lost that friend. So it may happen. You can try to enroll them into your life, and it may happen that you may lose your friends. That is not a reason for you to keep yourself small and keep yourself held back.
Great advice. Thank you so much, Dee. And I think, on the same hand, too, Dee, would you agree that you can actually really embrace this to the fullest, especially in the example that you just gave me? Because what I started thinking about is, what a great thing to be able to position yourself in the way that you react to this change with those friends that are now still overweight when you've lost that weight, of how you can be a real inspiration to them in the process.
Right.
Somebody could walk into the room and go, well, look at me and look at where I'm at now versus where I was, stuck where you guys still are at.
Right.
Or you could come in and go, you know what? This was really, really hard, but I've kind of done all of this hard work up front, and I'd love to kind of be here for you as that support, so you don't have to take this journey on your own like I did.
Right.
And, I just got goosebumps. I mean, it's really, really cool when you make a change and you can really embrace that process, how you can really make a difference in someone else's life.
Right.
Yeah, love that. So, Dee, shout out to our listeners that are listening right now that are thinking, my gosh, what the heck? There's no possible way that I can make this change. Because if you're listening, I want you to really think about what is the biggest pain that you have, the thing that you need to change the most, because it's devastating to the results that you're getting in your life, your business, whatever that is. Because Dee can help you make that change. And that's what I want you to embrace, is that most difficult. So, Dee, what do they need to do?
I would look at your life and identify the one thing that would give you the most bang for buck in terms of change. Mm-hmm. Go look at that and make a decision. The first thing is to make a decision to do it and decide to just spend, like Tina said, just look at your shoes every day. Mm-hmm. Very, very tiny decision for every day. That way it's not overwhelming. Don't think of the end result. Yeah. Just think of that tiny step.
Yeah. I love that. And I think you can look at the ending of how beautiful that last piece is when you have it, but all of the steps in between is what you want to completely stay away from. And just like you said, look at the very first step, but visualize what that end looks like when it's all completed, right?
Yep.
Yeah, beautiful thing. Dee, thank you so much for coming in and joining us in studio. I'm really excited to have you come back very soon.
Thank you.
And coming up next in the mini hour, the Mindset Effect with Susan Palmer Wood. And we're talking about mindset right here at 1150 AM KKNW after this short break.
Are you a tech professional who wants to get your voice heard in meetings and events? Are you tired of being invisible or of people talking over you? Do you believe you have the talent to make more impact at work but don't know how or where to begin? Are you living on autopilot not knowing where your time has gone? Or do you want to make the best use of your time on this planet? To have a powerful voice in this world, you need to build up your communication skills and courage step by step. To live your life in a powerful way, you need to have crystal clear goals and work through problems along the way until you achieve those goals. D. Gupta of D Coaching is an expert at unleashing your personal power and will coach you through a simple and easy-to-follow process that will build up your skills and courage. Dee is passionate about firing people up to follow their dreams by walking them through her effective proprietary process of goal setting and follow-through.
This is Dee from D Coaching. To learn more about me, visit my website at speakpowerfullycoaching.com and follow the links to connect with me on social media.
You're listening to The Money Hour with your host, Tina Mitchell, and co-host Keelan Harvey on Alternative Talk AM 1150. Now, back to the show with local mortgage experts Tina Mitchell and Keelan Harvey.
Welcome back to the Money Hour at 11:50 a.m. KKNW, the Saturday, March 16th show. I'm your host, Tina Mitchell.
And your co-host, Keelan Harvey.
And we are here to help you build a strong financial blueprint 1 week and one show at a time. If you're hearing our show at a different time or day, you are listening to a rebroadcast, but we're here to connect you with the guests that we have on the show. You can call it 1-855-400-1150. Again, that's 1-855-400-1150 or online at themoneyhour.com. Our next guest in Susan Studio, our next guest in studio is Susan. That is a tongue twister. Susan Palmer Wood. We're going to be talking about mindset effect with Susan. Susan, thank you so much for coming into studio. So excited to chat with you today.
Thank you so much for having me.
And a little bit about Susan. Susan is a former Microsoft and tech startup executive turned mindset empowerment coach, master NLP, love that, practitioner and trainer. She's also president of the Eastside chapter of Women's Open Network Group and volunteers in middle school classrooms with the Choices organization to reduce high school dropout rate. Sharing the message, you are not what happens to you. You are who you choose to become. Love that. Your choices today impact your opportunities tomorrow. Susan is passionate about helping people transform their thoughts, beliefs, and behaviors so they can experience a more joyful and fulfillment in their career, relationship, and personal development.
Susan, I'm so excited about this. I love mindset stuff. This is good.
Yay.
So you are a mindset empowerment coach and NLP trainer. What does that mean?
That's a great question. When I think, have you ever experienced those thoughts of, oh, I can't do this, or, well, I am the way that I am, or that is the way it is, or, well, I am this way because this thing happened to me. And then just imagine quieting those voices and just getting free from them and seeing new possibilities and new ways of doing things. That's what I help people do. So empowerment is really understanding that you can be at choice in your life, that you are a co-creator. I believe that you are a co-creator of your life and versus a victim of circumstances, because circumstances by themselves are neutral until you give them meaning.
Yeah.
Right, if you think about it.
Yeah.
So NLP is neuro-linguistic programming, and I am so fascinated by it because it's like a manual for the brain. And really to simplify it, it is to improve the communication with yourself and with others. So everything is starting from the inside out, and how you talk to yourself. And then ultimately it's how you see the world and how you treat other people. And I'm passionate about creating a ripple effect of happiness and joy, because when you feel good, then you're more likely to be nice to the person next to you, to speak nicely with your kids, to tip your barista, to let the person in front of you in traffic instead of road rage. Yeah. So that's really true empowerment, is going from victim to victor in your life.
Yeah, and why not? If we talked earlier with the D, I mean, if you want to get healthier, you make healthier decisions and you can lose weight. If you want to get smarter, you study more. So why can't we get our brains to work better, to benefit us, to really be the person that we're meant to be? So true.
And we think that we are stuck with it, right?
Yeah.
So when I'm talking about seeing things differently, I've helped people lose lifelong allergies in 20 minutes.
Yeah.
People who let go of addictions, of food addictions, in 15 minutes. So we have been taught that we are stuck, and that's just not true.
Nope. And it's not changing the story. It is looking at the story differently, because that story that is negative actually is very positive if you can embrace that negative side of it, which we're going to talk a little bit about tragedy to triumph, which is, my message, and totally engaged in that. So what kinds of results are you experiencing with your clients? I mean, you gave an example, get over addiction and allergies and different things.
And those are quick ones using neuro-linguistic programming processes. That's why it's done so quickly, is because it's changing the way that your brain is firing and the way that, like you said, the way that you're seeing things. My clients are really, they are having clarity and seeing possibilities and stepping into their empowerment. So it's almost like, when your windshield of your car is dirty, and then you turn on the windshield wipers and you can see clearly.
Yeah.
It's kind of like this is, you can't see on the radio, but I'm holding up my hands in front of my face. You're looking through life with a lens, right? And this is clearing the lens.
Yeah. Or you can have bad windshield wipers and it doesn't come out any clear. It just gets really smudgy. And that's where most people are actually living, in that smudgy window, right?
Yeah. And so getting their stop getting wound up. Some of my clients, they stop yelling at their kids.
Yeah.
They just have this clarity, and because they're telling themselves a different story and they're seeing, things differently, because we know what we need to do, like Dee was talking about habits.
Yeah.
And so it's getting yourself out of the way so that you can do it. And that's what my clients are doing.
And how important is it to have that third party person to do that for you? You know, you might not see it, within internally into yourself. And we do have that self-talk, and you got to be very careful. If you're saying something out of your mouth, you've thought about it a lot, and you create neural paths, right, in your brain and habits, and it's a downward spiral. So having somebody to step out and like be that person to tell you, this is what I see, as a professional and expert, is really helpful. I mean, how do you work with your clients specifically?
Yeah, I love that. It's so true. Even coaches have coaches, because we all need someone to mirror things back to us. So I start off coaching packages with something that's called a mental emotional release. And it's just, I'm listening for language patterns and language constructs and limiting beliefs, and we dig that all up, and then we go through a process of releasing them. So this is just within 2 4-hour sessions. Then we release what's called baggage, so things like trapped anger, fear, sadness, guilt, and limiting beliefs. The big ones like I'm not enough, or I can't, or I'm not smart enough, the imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
And from there, then they get this it's like a new normal.
Yeah.
So it's almost like, oh, I forgot how I was.
Yeah.
Although afterwards they say, gosh, who am I without this old thought?
Yeah.
So they kind of have to go, oh, wow. And then they have this new normal. And from there, they can create a vision for what they want in our life. Because most of us know what we don't want.
Yeah.
And we're not clear on what we do want.
Yeah.
So they get clear on what it is that they do want. And then we start creating strategies and habits to get them where they want to go.
Yeah.
But it's really doing that internal work, because it's not the goal. It's who you become on your way to this bigger vision of what you want. And it's all in alignment with your values.
Yeah, I love that. And I love how, it's not what you don't want, it's what you want. Because I think most people, as they talk to, I don't want this. And I always say, if you're in the car and you're saying, I'm not going to be late, I'm not going to be late, I'm not going to be late, you're going to be late.
Yes.
Because the universe doesn't understand your words. It understands the emotion behind the words. So you need to talk with what gives you great emotion, not emotion that brings you stress and overwhelmness. So who can really most benefit from you? Or, who's your favorite person to work with? Who do you just really love and connecting with?
Well, NLP is a do-with process, not a do-to process.
Okay.
So what I would say is the people that it can most help are the ones who want help. So you have to want it. And the ones that I love working with are the ones who are curious, the ones who have that leverage, like you guys talked about earlier, of saying, okay, that's it. I don't know why I'm doing this, or maybe I do. Maybe I have the story of why I'm doing what I'm doing, and I'm ready to release it. They're open-minded. Maybe they're open to the mindset work, some spirituality work, because I also incorporate energy work into what I do, and ready to really step into their authenticity of being who they are. And they can still do everything that they want to do, but it's coming from a place of being. And in Western society, it's so backwards. Like, if we do these things, then we'll have we want to have, and then eventually we can be who we are. Yeah. But really, we have to start with be. Yep. And so I have worked with people as young as 21 and as old as 72. Not that that's old, but that's a range. And I love working with people who are kind of in that middle life stage, who are saying, well, what used to work for me isn't working anymore, and I don't really want to, I don't know what's next. So.
Yeah. And, most people say, if I see it, I believe it. I say, if I believe it, I'm going to see it. So it's a shift in a different way of looking. Yeah.
So, Susan, you alluded to your tragedy to triumph story. Tell us a little bit about that and how it influenced you to work with people, or kind of what led you down the path of helping people with what you do now.
Yes. So I had a lot of trauma in my childhood, and I had gained some beliefs of unworthiness, not enoughness. And that plagued me for a long time. And eventually what happened is I was extremely successful in corporate America. From the outside, I looked successful.
Yeah.
From the inside, I had big time imposter syndrome. I was a single mom and also thinking I'm not doing that right. I had all of these doubts, and eventually it led to a health crisis where one morning I couldn't get up off the floor after multiple warnings from my naturopath, who said, your health is a ticking time bomb, you got to stop. And I'm like, oh, we have another release coming out. I can't possibly stop. And so my body stopped me. And so I completely burned out my adrenals and I had to take months off. After I started recovering, then I went to this mountain. And I climbed this mountain. It took about 8 hours, and I didn't know I was going to climb. It was Angel's Peak in Utah, in Zion, I believe it is. And I didn't know. I was with a friend who said, we'll take stops. But I got to the top, and I went, and this is a treacherous climb. Like you hold on to chains, and you're looking over, and here I am with a suitcase full of supplements. Chronic fatigue, it's awful. And somehow, after 8 hours, I made it to the top of this mountain, and something shifted in me and said, oh my gosh, I'm not broken. There is nothing wrong with me. And I felt this incredible empowerment. And the thing is, nothing changed but my mind.
Yeah. Yep.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it took me 4 hours to get down, and my life changed after that. I did a Tough Mudder. I got certified in Zumba. I changed jobs. And then a coincidence, as things happen, is an old workbook fell off my shelf. And on the cover, it said, sign up for NLP practitioner training, January 2009. And I went, oh, yeah, I forgot I want to do that.
Yeah.
Fell in love with it, went through master practitioner training, had a lot of personal development work, let go the things that I now do with clients.
Yes.
Let go of those old beliefs and trapped emotions, transformed my life and said, I can't not do this.
Yeah.
And so that's what drives me, is that people don't have to be stuck in that misery.
And all it is changing your mind, having new habits of how you look at things. And then I, believe the universe is just pinging out there with all kinds of opportunities, whether it was the book falling, it was the mountain that was there for you. There were so many different things that just happened to be the one that connected at that moment. But just think about that. The universe is just out there pinging all kinds of opportunities for you, just waiting for you to grab one of them. But you've got to reshift the way that you're thinking. So your biggest takeaway from that, obviously, was focusing more on your thoughts.
Yeah, it's to really be aware of that your thoughts drive your thoughts lead to thoughts lead to feelings, feelings lead to behaviors, and behaviors lead to outcomes.
Yeah.
So just be curious about the thoughts, and you don't have to be stuck.
Yeah.
You don't have to live being miserable.
Yeah.
You have choice.
Yes.
And that's true empowerment.
Of course.
I love that. So I'm sure there's plenty of listeners out there going, whoa, this is kind of hitting home. So
We
tell
got some
us.
back-to-back powerful conversations here.
I love it. I love this empowerment stuff. How can someone who's struggling, one of our listeners out there, how can they make some steps to empowering themselves to change their lives and step into this light in this universe?
So the first thing is a little bit what we just talked about is being aware. So we have over 60,000 thoughts per day. A lot of them are what we had the day before and the day before that and the month before that and the year before that. So it's paying attention. So that's the first thing that I do with clients is pay attention to your thoughts, write them down, and then question them. Are they true? Then you also can be clear on what you want and how you want to feel and manage your state, manage your emotional state. And there are ways that you can do that. Just like if I said, hold out your hand, close your eyes, hold out your hand. I'm going to put a lemon in it, this big juicy lemon, cut it in half, squeeze it, now put it in your mouth. Your mouth automatically waters. Well, there's no lemon there. So the mind doesn't really understand what's going on in your head versus what's going on in reality. So choose how you want to feel. That's empowerment. And don't be a victim of your mind or your circumstances.
Yeah. Susan, we've got less than 60 seconds. Our time is up. Final shout out to our listener. What do you want to say to him?
You are who you choose to become. And when you look at things differently, then those things change.
Yeah.
So you can be empowered and you have the power within you. So please reach out to me at susanpalmerwood.com and on Facebook, also Susan Palmer Wood.
Yeah, love that. Thank you, Susan, so much. And coming up next to the Money Hour, breaking out of the winter freeze, spring real estate update, Carrie Ray Davis with Mitsui Real Estate Group at Keller Williams, right here at 11:50 a.m. KKNW after this short break.
Are you a tech professional who wants to get your voice heard in meetings and events? Are you tired of being invisible or of people talking over you? Do you believe you have the talent to make more impact at work but don't know how or where to begin? Are you living on autopilot not knowing where your time has gone? Or do you want to make the best use of your time on this planet? To have a powerful voice in this world, you need to build up your communication skills and courage step by step. To live your life in a powerful way, you need to have crystal clear goals and work through problems along the way until you achieve those goals. D. Gupta of D Coaching is an expert at unleashing your personal power and will coach you through a simple and easy to follow process that will build up your skills and courage. Dee is passionate about firing people up to follow their dreams by walking them through her effective proprietary process of goal setting and follow-through.
This is Dee from D Coaching. To learn more about me, visit my website at speakpowerfullycoaching.com and follow the links to connect with me on social media.
You're listening to The Money Hour with your host, Tina Mitchell, and co-host Keelan Harvey on Alternative Talk AM 1150. Now, back to the show with local mortgage experts Tina Mitchell and Keelan Harvey.
Welcome back to the Money Hour at 1150 AM KKNW, the Saturday, March 16th show. I'm your host, Tina Mitchell.
And your co-host, Keelan Harvey.
I'm bringing in expert advice and inside knowledge on today's events in our local economy and how it can affect your money. If you're listening to our show at a different time or day, you are listening to a rebroadcast. We're here to answer you any questions or connect you with the guests that we have on the show today. Please call the show at 1-855 400-1150. Again, that's 1-855-400-1150 or online at themoneyhour.com. And in studio right now, we have Carrie Ray Davis with Mitsui Real Estate Group at Keller Williams, breaking out the winter freeze and spring real estate update. Carrie, thank you so much for coming back in studio.
Hi, thank you for having me again.
And a little bit about Carrie. Being a resident of Seattle for over 22 years, Carrie has obtained unsurpassed knowledge of this beautiful city and its surrounding areas. She prides herself on knowing the Emerald City inside and out, from the best features of each neighborhood to all of the wonderful places to explore. Believing in real estate with the art of hospitality, Carrie wants to be all-around resource for what you may need in Seattle. Whether you're looking for to purchase or sell a home, need a vendor to help accomplish these tasks, or just great restaurant recommendations, her goal is to create a continued relationship with her clients. Carrie believes in creating experiences for others. She believes in creating clients for life, and Carrie will do what it takes to help move your dreams forward.
Well, I believe that, Carrie. You're a rock star. So,
Thank you.
yeah. So, actually, I called you while you were at the Keller Williams family reunion in 2019. I know that's had to be a blast down in New Orleans.
Yes.
I haven't been there, but I've heard so many amazing things about it. Tell us, what did you get from your family reunion? I know they have a lot of good information.
They do.
And I want to hear about it. What'd you come back with there?
So this was the third family reunion that I'd attended, and my second time to New Orleans. Amazing city, by the way.
Yeah.
Hospitality, Southern hospitality is a real thing. It's beautiful. I loved
Yes.
it. But it's really exciting because they have 17,000 agents from all over the world, really, that come together and convene, and they give us, the health of the company. They give us a lot of tools and classes to help make us the best that we can be, a lot of mentorship. And that's one thing that's great about this company is they really want to make us the best that we can be. So through this experience, we've learned that Keller Williams has actually invested in its first artificial intelligence for real estate. So it's going to change things quite drastically. So clients that are working with me have an opportunity. The platform's almost completely ready to go here in the second quarter, but it's going to give people an opportunity to have a customized experience when they're searching through our platform. Like if you go to Netflix kind of knows what shows you like to see, and it's kind of pertaining to you. And so this experience going through this search process is going to do the same thing. You can look at specific neighborhoods, maybe the type of kitchen you want to have. It'll be able to search for you that way and really customize your experience based on what you're trying to find. So it's super exciting.
Yeah, it's really exciting what technology is continuing to do, and it's really great to see how Keller Williams is really embracing that. And, they've always been an educational company.
Right.
Now they're actually a technology company, so they're really changing their model to embrace this beautifulness that we have with technology and the constant change. So how has the market been for you at the Mitsui Group?
So the market's picking back up. We had, I'm sure everybody's aware, we had a little bit of a dip during the winter time. So it's nice to feel that, there's more inventory coming back up on the scene, and
Thank goodness.
Buyers are starting to move again. I had a lot of people that were just kind of waiting to see what was going to happen. So it's nice to feel that it's actually getting back to normalcy is what I think it would be.
Yeah.
So.
Tell us a little bit about what is going on with the current Seattle and inventory. Specifically, what is it looking like that you're seeing now?
Well, so I've got some stats here. Now I've got just central Puget Sound mainly, so it is mainly the Puget Sound area. But for, February of 2019 compared to 2018, we had in 2019 4,511 new listings, opposed to 5,057 last year. So it's down slightly a little bit from last year, just slightly under 10%. Our closings are slightly under 13% than they were last year, and the inventory of homes have come up quite significantly. Last year it was 4,627. This year it's 7,271. So there's definitely an uptick of inventory, which is good. Now buyers aren't necessarily having to waive every contingency. We can actually negotiate and have our inspections and whatnot, and be able to do our due diligence to be able to get into a home. Currently, right now, our supply of inventory is 1.3 months. So it's still a seller's market. I've had a lot of buyers be like, oh, prices are coming down. There's more inventory. That's, they think they can ask for more than they should. But I think 4 months of inventory is a balanced market. So we're still
3 to 6 months, depending on what area and part of the nation you're in, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So it's still looking good. It's still a great time to be a buyer. I tell people, with interest rates being as low as they are, get in while you can.
And that was crazy. Rates are going up, and they went up, and then they went back down. I want to say what the heck, but I don't want to say what the heck in a bad way. It just shows that you cannot predict what is going to happen. So, Carrie, let's talk about neighborhoods and the most affordable, because that's affordability in our market. It's really hard to actually even get that word out of your mouth, affordability. So if we were going to find a neighborhood that's most affordable for our first-time home buyers, where are those places at?
I still firmly believe the West Seattle area is still affordable. The Burien area, Renton is affordable. It depends on what you make, obviously, but median home price in the Central Puget Sound is $469,000 right now. So that's the median, and that's through the whole Puget Sound. So it's a little higher, obviously, when you're in Seattle city limits. But I think that Delridge, White Center is going to be probably blowing up in the next couple of years. There's a lot of new construction going on down there. I can see that area really, really increasing in value, and I think that's a smart place to try and buy if you're a first-time home buyer.
Yeah, it's going to blow up when Starbucks shows up all of a sudden. And White Center, we used to call it the Dub C. It was
there's a Starbucks.
There is, right? We didn't even want to get gas there, and it was that scary at one point. And then all of a sudden,
now Starbucks is like, it's okay.
It's
We're
like,
coming
no, check
in.
it out. We're here, and we know something you don't know. And then next thing you know, boom, it blows up.
That's interesting. So there's a shout out. Follow where the Starbucks are going. If there's no Starbucks in the neighborhood, a Starbucks comes in, buy your house there.
Run away from dollar stores, find Starbucks. That's the ticket.
Well, and there's a lot of new, really great restaurants down there too.
A lot of the West Seattle people, the restaurant owners, went to White Center, and it's just like there's gentrification going over there. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's big time.
Anyways, I'm going nuts off topic there. I'm kind of from that area. So let's talk about first-time home buyers. So and I love this, what does it take to buy a first home?
So if we were going to go off the median home price in Central Puget Sound for $469,000, really you can get in conventional at 3%. So if you are looking at a 3% down payment for a $469,000 home, it's $14,070. So it's just a little over $14,000, which is actually not that much money if you've been saving and you're really trying to put it together.
Depending on income, there's also grant and down payment assistance programs.
Right, there's so many programs,
that.
right? And you'd be the expert to talk with about that. But and then you've got closing costs. So, and closing costs can be anywhere, they can be anywhere between $6,000 to $12,000, depending on how you're tailoring your loan. So if you think about it, depending on who you're working with and what you're able to do, you could probably get into a brand new house with maybe $20,000 in your
Yeah.
pocket. And
Yeah.
really, when you think about that, it's, that's money that people can actually wrap their head around. It's not like you've got to have $60,000 in order to get into a home. You actually can, get your foot in the door and buy something. And basically, now is the time to get in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there's another strategy that we use too for closing costs. You could offer more for the property and have the
Write it in.
Yeah,
Yeah.
write it
Right.
in, and so all you're coming in with is just the down payment itself.
Right.
And I've actually seen seller credits come in, which is shocking because it's taken a while to see it, but
Well, we're
it
seeing
exists.
that now finally.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now with the market, kind of there's more inventory. Sellers have to work with those buyers a little bit more. So it's nice that as you have an opportunity to get your foot in the door if you can be creative with
Yeah,
it.
so if
sure.
you can either increase the purchase price by 10 grand, get 10,000 to cover closing cost and prepaid, your payment's going to go up maybe $50 a month, or you can take a 0.5% higher interest rate to do a no closing cost loan, and your payment's going to go up about $50 a month. So, there's some really lots of great things. That's why you want to work with an expert when it comes to real estate and mortgage, because we can get you hooked up.
Me and Tina,
So,
duh.
yeah.
Me and
So, Carrie,
Tina.
and now Carrie's going to hook you up on listings. So, Carrie, let's talk about really hot listings, kind of what's coming up, and what are you sharing with your clients right now?
So currently, my team, we've got 2 condos on the market in West Seattle in the Junction. We've got 2 different units. We've got a 1-bedroom, 1-bath, and then we've got a 2-bedroom, 2.75 bath, and those are both under $500,000 for those units. So that's a great opportunity. And then I've been actually working on some different properties where I have a potential land deal that I'm working on in the Green Lake area. So there might be some new townhomes on the horizon in Green Lake in the next year or two that could be super exciting because it's just such a beautiful area. We've got access to some new townhomes in West Seattle because, like I was mentioning, the Delridge, White Center area, there's a lot of brand new construction happening. Those properties are listed, around $500,000, $600,000. And then there's also some new complexes that are going to be built. I shouldn't say complex. I mean, they're going to be luxury homes, townhomes over on East Lake and in the Green Lake area, Greenwood and Ballard area.
Yeah,
So,
love East Lake.
yes, it's great. And so there's going to be, 7 new townhomes over there. They're going to be high end, beautiful, great opportunities. They're probably going to be finished sometime next year.
Okay.
So if anybody's interested in talking with me about those, they can certainly call me at 206-330-6985.
Perfect.
Yeah.
That sounds like a good deal. What's going on in West Seattle? $500,000. You could barely get a dumpster for $500,000 like not so long ago.
Right.
I moved up north, as you know, so that's actually a good deal.
Yes. Yeah, no, I mean, and I think considering prices did come down like they did, this last winter, I mean, I think the builders are probably expecting to hopefully get more for them, but with the market being what it is, $500,000, $550,000 is basically where things have been ending.
The Junction is a premium.
The Junction is a premium, and these 2 units that we have are right off the Alaska Junction. So if you want to be in West Seattle and you want to live in a condo, and it's great opportunity to be in a great location so close to the city.
Yeah.
That's the
What
place.
are the average HOAs there?
So they're ranging between like 350. There's
Okay,
one unit
not
that's a little
bad.
bit higher, maybe
That's
closer
not
to
bad.
500.
Yeah.
I'm seeing a
That's more
lot of
normal.
and I'm seeing a lot of through me searching for my clients that I'm looking for. I've seen a lot of HOAs a little bit higher, more like the 500-600,
Yes.
sometimes higher depending
Yeah.
on the unit. So if you can find something in the 250 to 350 range, it's going to be a lot easier in your pocketbook.
Exactly.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
like that. So what's it like currently in kind of the environment where we're in for agents out there these days? And what would you say to anyone who may want to get into the industry at this point?
Well, I think if you're good at your job, you're going to be good at your job. And
Of
this is a
course.
very tough business to be in.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a people business, and you want to make sure that you are putting yourself with the right company. That's the reason why I chose Keller Williams to work with personally, because they've got a lot of training, and they help you get started as an agent. Another thing that I like about my company is they are really team-centric. They really want to create the team environment to be able to help everybody get going and get started. They also have a profit share, which is really, really great, which is not what many brokerages share with their agents. So it's an opportunity to make some money and have some residual income coming in. So once you're vested, you get some retirement essentially.
Exactly.
So they're a great way to get started in the business. And if anybody would want to talk with me about it, I'd be happy to chat with them about it.
Love it. Yeah, you can call into the show. We'll get you connected with Carrie. And, I love what you say. If you're successful, you're going to be successful. It doesn't matter what industry you're in. And, I always have to disclose, I never wish for a bad market, but I'm ready to embrace it. And I'm all about a challenging market because I really have an opportunity to excel at such a higher level than I do in an easy easy market.
Right.
Because majority of people who we were talking with are two coaches, the idea of change and the idea of embracing things that are challenging, it's all that conversation. And there's a lot of negative chatter out there when the market adjusts a little tiny bit. And the chatter really just does not mean anything.
It's
but
chatter.
it is going to direct your outcome.
Right.
And the unfortunate thing, as we've talked with Susan as well, it's going to have an effect on everybody else's outcome that's around you that's in a negative space. So last question as we wrap up our time here. You talk a lot about community involvement and what you're doing through the Mitsui group and part of that. So what do you got going on right now as we wrap up our time together?
So we host the West Seattle Art Walk. We are a featured office that hosts West Seattle Art Walk the second Thursday of every month. And then we also are supporting the West Seattle Senior Center by sponsoring Rainbow Bingo. Our next Rainbow Bingo is the 29th of March, and it is sold out 4 months in advance. So if anybody wants to attend with us, we have a VIP table, and it's super fun, and it's a great opportunity to support the Senior Center.
I love bingo.
Victoria, before you make a note to reach out to Carrie
Yes,
and find out
please.
about the bingo game, Keelan and I need to get that on our calendar.
Rainbow Bingo at the West Seattle Senior Center. Yeah, it's super fun. It's a great time. It's a great way to engage with the community.
And being with us, our senior generation and the bingo combination, that sounds like a lot of fun.
It's a lot of fun.
Okay, we're going to be there. All right. Well, Carrie, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's a real pleasure.
It's fun. Thanks.
And that's a wrap for our show today. This is Tina Mitchell, and I'm your host signing off.
And your co-host, Keelan Harvey.
We'll be here next weekend, same time, same place, right here at 11:50 a.m. KKNW. And enjoy your weekend, everyone.
Tina Mitchell, MLO 145420, and Keelan Harvey, MLO 1330075, are licensed loan originators with Gateway Mortgage Group LLC and MLS 7233. The views expressed by the speakers on the preceding program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views of Gateway Mortgage Group LLC, nor are they necessarily endorsed by Gateway Mortgage Group LLC.